皆さんこんにちは、お元気ですか？今日は文法の、第4章ですね、4番目の文法を説明したいと思います。また今回も頑張ってください。In this lesson, we will learn how to describe people and things and their locations. Right. So you might be wondering, okay, what was the things we learned before, which was something like, 私の家はバージニアのアレキサンドリアにあります。Right? So that was the ones we learned to describe where is my house. So the pattern was something, the things you are describing goes with wa, and the location and goes with ni. Virginia no, if you want to describe a little bit more, then Virginia no Alexandria. So that's the location, right? As a whole phrase. And that goes with ni and arimasu. Right? The example you see here is Fuji-san. Fuji-san is a Mount Fuji. Fuji-san wa Nihon ni arimasu. Right? So if somebody says, where is Mount Fuji? Was it in Korea? 韓国ですか？それとも中国ですか？ Then you can correct them saying, いえ、富士山は or this can be dropped if it's understood, if it's in the questions and everybody knows what the topic is, then you can drop that part and just say 日本にあります。Right? So this is the one you learned. Now the ones we're gonna learn for in this section is place, right? に and something があります。So there is no particle は in this pattern. So what's the difference? The difference, well, actually, let me just go over the example first. So you see here, 日本, right? That's the name of the place. 日本に, so that's the location. 富士山があります. So 富士山 is the item you are describing about, right? And the verb is going to be the same, あります. So you might be thinking, okay, what's the difference between 富士山は日本にあります? That's the first sentence you see, versus the second sentence you have here. 日本に富士山があります. So the first one is going to be the location, right, of the Fujisan. So you are asked, where is it? どこですか? Then you can use this pattern. 日本にあります. Or if you don't want to drop the Fujisan part, 富士山は日本にあります. The second one is it's most like you are asked, what's there? What's in Japan, right? So that's a difference between where is something versus what's there. You don't know what is there, and that's what I would like to know, right? So the answer to that, well, we have Mount Fuji, 日本に富士山があります. So in this situation, we are not asking about the location, right, of Fujisan. I'm asking what is in Japan in this situation. So 日本に富士山があります. So that's the difference. It's just the emphasis, right? Where is it versus what's there. Alright, so let me go over a couple more examples in the next slide. Alright, so the example you have here is 日本に, so that's the location, お寺, temples, right? お寺があります. So the location is Japan, and what you are talking about is お寺, right? But most likely this is the answer for what's there, right? What's in Japan? What's there in Japan? So 日本に can be dropped. What do they have there? お寺があります。Right? So you have same situation. If you are asked what do you have in your room, and you have to list something, right? In that situation, you have the location first. 私の部屋、私の部屋、私の家, either way, you can use house or room, right? 私の部屋、部屋 is a room. 私の部屋にコンピューターがあります。Right? Then you can drop 私の部屋 as a location because that's not what we are listing, right? We are listing what's there. So that's not 私の部屋 is not that important and you don't have to repeat for every sentence, right? Since it's understood. So I can keep going. コンピューターがあります。Right? ベッドがあります。それからテーブルもあります。So that's how you can use this に and something があります。Now that we have understood the basic structure, let's see how we can use this pattern as a question. Okay? So most likely you wanna know with this pattern, like what do they offer here, or what is there, or what is here, right? So the example you have here is この辺. So この辺 is like this neighborhood, this area where you are standing, right? Then that's the location. And 何 so that's gonna be what instead of 何 it's gonna be 何何がありますか So suppose you are looking for a place to live, right? You are new to town and you wanna know what do they offer in this neighborhood. So that's most likely when you can use the pattern like this. So I would just say maybe like talking to a realtor, talking to somebody who knows about this area. すいません。この辺に何がありますか Then they might tell you, そうですね。バーガーキングがあります。それから、ケーキ屋があります。ケーキ屋 So, whenever you have 屋 after the noun, it doesn't go with every noun, but most of the noun you can make the place where the item is being sold. For example, 寿司屋 or 米屋 or ビール屋 even. 本屋 that's what you have learned before, right? So those are all nouns and add 屋. Another one was 花屋 hanaya, like florist. There was another one. Kutsu, if you know, kutsu is a shoes, right? So kutsuya. So that's a shoe store. So you can do this one with a keiki. Keikiya or panya, almost any of those. Anyway, so that's the place where you can buy, right? So この辺にケーキ屋があります。それから郵便局もあります。So this is how the conversation goes back and forth, right? So instead of この辺, you can say ノバに or バージニア大学に何がありますか If you are looking for something like what do they offer as a facilities, right? Then you can use something like this with this place に何がありますか So another example of the same type of questions, right? In this situation, we are try to look what's there in this place, which is sushiya. So let's see how much like we can read the menu of this restaurant, right? 寿司屋に何がありますか So, ni goes with the place, and nani, again, that's a question word, goes with ga. Sushi ya ni nani ga arimasu ka? So let's see if we can read some of those hiragana, right? For example, like the ones on the third part, third row, right? On the left side, I can see, そうですね。アサリがあります。So I see アサリ. So you can have that one before が、right? アサリがあります。それから、しじみがあります。なめこもあります。So this is like one of those お味噌汁、like that's the items like under お味噌汁 which is miso soup. But something like that you can use this, right? So 寿司屋に何がありますか？そうですね。梅しそがあります。それからおしんこもあります。And I'm just reading the second row now. かんぴょうもあります。When you are describing the location of people or animals, it's something that are alive except plants. That's a little bit tricky ones, but you would have to use imas instead of arimas. But the pattern is going to be exactly the same way. So let's talk about your pets, right? For example, I have a dog and I would like to describe what's in, what do I have, right? So, 私の家. So that's the place. So I'm gonna start. I have a dog in my house, right? 私の家に犬がいます。Right? So, います instead of あります because my dog is not very well and alive. So I don't want to put あります. It sounds like, I'm talking about the body of some kind of like animals. So it's going to be います, right? Then if you remember the difference between the pattern we have learned goes with the particle は, I can add the information using the pattern. For example, now I stated what I have in my house or what I do have, which is in, right? I can add the location of my dog. So, 犬はいつも私の部屋にいます。So that pattern is going to be items and は in this case, animals, right? Or pets. And は the location 私の部屋にいます。There is no が here because I'm describing the location of the dog, right? Instead of what I have. The first sentence is to describe what I have, which is gonna be 私のうちに that's the place 犬がいます。犬 is what I have, right? So the emphasis for the first sentence is going to be 犬がいます。If it's understood, if everybody knows, or if the question was asked, and this is the answer you are giving to the person, you don't really have to repeat 私のうちに because that's not important, right? The more important part is 犬 because that's the information you are providing, right? So 犬がいます versus the second part is the more important information of this second sentence is 私の部屋, right? Because you are describing the information that you want to provide is where your dog is, right? So that's the reason you can drop 犬は at the beginning if it's already understood, right? You can say, where is it? いつも私の部屋にいます。Okay, so hope that make sense? I know it's a little bit tricky, but there is a difference between this pattern, the first one we have been studying in this grammar section, versus the ones you had studied before, something or somebody, wa and location, ni, arimasu, and imasu. Right. Then the verb, it changes, right? Depending on the person or pets versus items, most likely buildings or things you are talking about, right? So imasu goes with person, pets, and arimasu goes with buildings and items. 皆さんお疲れ様でした。今回は、それだけです。ちょっとまた頑張ってください。失礼します。